Okay.
Hello?
Yeah, I'm here. So you're saying that.
Yeah, I came out here to be the Jonah, Noah, Moses, but he also revealed that I'm everything from Adam, from Patmos all the way back to Adam.
Okay. So what's the message? No, that yeah. Sure, but no, but what would be the message for like the plebeian people or like the commoners, the pedestrians?
The thing is that we come from the source and center. We've existed with it from before time.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, we're sent down here as emissaries. This technically is hell down here.
And so is there like an earth versus the hell, or is hell and earth synonymous? So where's earth?
That's why it's going to get destroyed in the end. Like, there will be a 1,000-year reign after evil's put away. And then Satan's going to be let out for half an hour after the 1,000-year millennial reign. And then after that, most of the idiots, excuse me, I don't mean to call them idiots, but they choose to go after the devil again instead of serving God.
Okay.
And then that's when he throws everything in a lake of fire.
And so, but I'm just curious. So you say this is hell, and so where is earth? Like, when Jesus walked on earth, was he here or was?
Jesus is Satan, dude.
I'm sorry. When Yeshua, when the Messiah was here.
Messiah is Yahweh. Messiah is Yahweh.
Okay. No. Sure. But
came in was Yahushua. And with the proper vowel placements in the original language, it translates out in every other language as Yahweh the Messiah.
So when Yahweh the Messiah came, when he was dying on the cross, was that here?
On a cross. It was on a tree.
On the tree, was that here? Sure.
The letter Shin.
Was that here or was that on earth?
That's here.
In hell?
Where do you think earth is? Earth has been possessed by the Queen of Heaven spirit, the Astarte, Isis.
Yeah, okay. So I'm just trying to figure out how this works. So you're saying...
The thing is, like, we live in a quantum reality.
Okay.
What happened was the code was stolen from Adam.
Yeah.
So Satan, Hashatan is the god of this world. Because Yahweh is not a god, he's the creator. Gods are constructs of our wicked imaginations and wicked hearts.
Okay, so are you saying the whole Bible is kind of convoluted or has copyist errors?
It's been perverted because of the Talmud, because of the Babylonian invasion, the Medo-Persian invasion,
Okay. I just asked you a question because in the Torah it puts the word God with Hashem.
No, it's not God. There's in the beginning it says Elohim. Elohim is the multiplicity. It's the workers. The Father El or Elohim or Eloah gave them the blueprints and said, here's all the equipment. Here's the MasterCard or the charge account. I gotta go take care of business. It's like the parable of the vineyard.
Okay, so that's what
I gotta go take care of some business, and then he comes back and he's like, wait a second, Bohu and Sohu is formless and void, wild, wasted, chaotic. Then he's got to change things.
So.
And since then, the little fallen angels have been running the thing, and they're trying to turn it back to. They're trying to restore what it was before the flood.
Okay. So my question.
They were building the Tower of Babel. Hold on, let me speak.
Sure.
They were building the Tower of Babel, and they said, "Come, let us make bricks." Right? They're making microprocessors. The tower they were building is a computer tower.
Mm-hmm.
Like D-Wave, a quantum computer.
Okay.
And when John was on, or Yohanan was on Patmos, and he said, I was given a reed like a rod to measure the temple. Well, you know the Shaka symbol?
Not necessarily. I'm not really familiar with that.
Shaka Hawaii, Shaka bra?
I'm not really familiar with that. No, I'm sorry.
Okay. Pull your 3 fingers in where your pinky and your thumb are just sticking out.
Yeah.
You ever been to Hawaii or seen a surfing movie?
Yeah.
That Shaka symbol.
Okay.
Okay, now take that. You keep those pinky and thumb out. Now open your other hand and take the pinky, put it on the tip of your middle finger, and that thumb on your other thumb. Same distance, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now the royal cubit is from the tip of your middle finger to your elbow.
Okay.
18 inches, royal cubit.
Okay.
That's the reed like a rod to measure the temple. It's all in proportion, just like this distance between your eyes and your ears, and everything on your body is in proportion.
Okay. So yeah, well, my question is then, so you're saying about this quantum computer, would you elaborate? Okay. Well, my question, yeah, I can hear you. Well, my question is if if this is, are you saying this is some kind of a virtual reality? Like, where would base reality be if we're in like a computer matrix?
Base reality would be in heaven and under the wing of the Almighty in His hand, in the palm of His hand.
And so, do we have other bodies?
The operating code was stolen by Hashatan from Adam. He was tricked into giving it up. The Father came as the Messiah, just like we all do. We come into this world full of light from the source as a living soul. As soon as we come out of the womb, because sin came through Eve, right? Hava came through Hava. We're occulted by the darkness of this world, trying to extinguish our light. And it took him 30 years to pick up the pieces and remember who he was.
Okay. So,
just like all of us.
So are you saying that we have another body in it would be our source self, basically, or our root self?
No, we're a living soul. This flesh is our prison, dude.
Okay. So without this flesh, we would be much more than a body. Is that right?
We would be one with our Father. We can never be higher than Abba, but He wants us to be His children, and some of us are more than children. We're His best friends, or we're eternal high priests in the order of Melchizedek, which is where I come from. Okay,
and so what is your way of getting there? How would you explain to people what the plan would be? What is it that you want people to do?
My plan is to proclaim the favorable year of Yahweh, the true Jubilee coming up. It's the final year of mankind, and to set the captives free. My job is to try to go and save as many souls as possible and let them know, hey, the prison bars were taken off your jail cell 2,000 years ago. Why are there so many denominations and so many religions when He doesn't want a religion? And remember, when He was rebuking the Pharisees and the Sadducees, He'd always say, is it not written in your scriptures? He doesn't want anything written down.
So then...
He wrote them on the tablets of Moses' stony heart. And it broke Moses' heart when he came down on Sinai. And he saw that Aaron had left him build a golden calf again. So it broke his heart. So he had to go back up. So literally, he had the stone rolled away from his heart.
So may I ask, is the garden
that Yahweh revealed was I am that I am.
Okay, so is the Garden of Eden somewhere that gets
right
back?
Here where it's called the North Pole.
Yeah.
Everything's coming back together right now.
And so how do we get to said North Pole?
Well,
if that's the destination.
If you're over in Israel, Israel's coming to America.
Okay.
Same with Hawaii and Philippines and all the other places. Europe, everything's coming here. I sent you a picture of what it looked like before the flood.
Yeah, I kind of like to know. And so, where is the North Pole?
That is where the north, if you hold a compass, it always points to the center of the earth, north.
Yeah, well,
not a ball floating in space, not a planet.
Exactly. And I know that. I'm just saying, as far as the North Pole, besides saying a compass, like if I was going to travel to the north, I would expect to go up by Iceland and Greenland and Russia.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Is up there where you're saying the North Pole is.
Look at the face of a watch and the face of a clock. You know, consider it a dinner plate. The outer edge would be what they call the continent of Antarctica. It's not a continent. It's a wall of ice that encircles the planet. That's the south. You don't have to compass anywhere. You can spin in a circle and point it. It's still going to point that way towards the south. Just as the north is always going to be where the North Star is, right above the Earth. It doesn't change.
Yeah,
What's happening is it's pulling all the continents back together. He gave me maps on the way here.
Yeah, I'd like you to share it with me if you'd be so generous. Cause,
I would like to, but like I said, I had my stuff hacked. And I've spent like over a month trying to get that under control.
Okay.
And right now, like I said, I'm stranded in a rest area, which is kind of funny because the address here, I looked it up. The address here, I'm literally Bethlehem. I am the house of bread.
You're in Bethlehem.
The father's funny, but the Leviathan, the giants, definitely. I'm not talking Aga Bashan style or Goliath style. I'm talking like 200, 300 feet tall, like Jolly Green Giant, Paul Bunyan style.
Yeah.
That's about to wake up. That's the beast of the earth that rises out of the sea.
Do you have any clue roughly?
I'm trying to rally the troops of righteousness.
When,
the true sons of liberty.
When do you suppose said beast, Jolly Green Giant, is going to wake up? Do you have a time frame?
It's happening right now, man. I'm literally in Beth Rapha. I'm in the house of the giants. They're surrounding me, literally.
In Ohio?
Ohio on accident. Yeah, Columbus, Cincinnati, Toledo.
Okay.
Chicago, Illinois, Detroit, Michigan, that area. And I also found where their house is.
Really?
Because out here, on my drive out here, when I was going to Arizona, I pulled off at this place called Mecca Mountain.
Would you be willing to share where their house is?
Yeah, let me send you an image of it. It comes up on Google Earth, and this is the family-friendly version. They're using ladles instead of skulls. This is the image that comes up if you scroll over on Google Earth.
Okay.
So hold on, I'll send it to you right now.
Sure, because yeah, I'm trying to figure out the details.
Oh, I gotta go plug this in before my battery dies. Hold on.
Okay.
I gotta get you on speaker so I don't have to almost skip my head.
So yeah, right now I'm just trying to get information, and then I just it's like
I got like 1% before the thing turns off.
okay. Yeah, I'm just trying to get as much information, whatever type of information it is.
But I read some of your posts the other day about making fun of me and whatnot. And that's not cool, dude.
Sorry, if you understand, like, sometimes I like to, I have to try to play around with people's emotions, if that makes sense. Like, that's why I'm a YouTube channel.
I didn't know you were an author and you were trying to mock me. I thought you were a brother in Yah, his righteousness.
No, you gotta understand that's all an act. Does that make sense? Like, I have to do that.
It's a stage and everybody's an actor. Either they're Satan or they're Yahweh's children.
But do you suppose it's a good idea to sometimes act kind of like along with them? Not along with them, but like in opposition to distract them.
I don't want to be devil's advocate. Screw that fucker.
Okay. No, I'm sorry. That's why if you think like I'm mad at you, I'm not. I just sometimes I like to.
Everybody that tries to pretend that they're a son of righteousness, a son of light, they end up stabbing me in the back and screwing me. I'm so trusting of people, man. I don't like tech. I'm new to tech as far as like Facebook and all this shit. I used to be into tech a long time ago, but he kept me out of it because I went into the code too soon. Okay,
now for me,
I came to Earth for birth with a code to enter into the beast system, which is the internet.
Okay. Yeah, I can't remember exactly what I said about whatever I said on the Facebook thing, but just understand that I'm doing that for your protection. I'm not actually, mad at you or anything.
Before I even came out here, there was some dude from Australia. That's how I even got on Facebook, and he started like saying all kinds of bad stuff about me before anything.
Okay. Yeah. No, I'm just trying to deliver the message. And trying to get your message out to a greater audience, just wherever it is.
I'm here to let people know that hey, you don't have to be in your prison cell. Yahweh wants you to be His friend, or at least His child.
Mm-hmm.
And above all, He'd like you to be His friend.
So okay, so getting on to some questions I got for you, just like how do you know some of these things? Because for me, I'm a philosopher in a lot of ways, and I feel like there's a lot of things that we can't know for certain. So how do you know these things, or say that you know?
Hold on just a second. Hey, nothing else. Can I call you back?
Yeah, go ahead. Take your time. Sure. Hey, so anyhow, back to my audience. As you can see, I'm trying to make sense of whatever he's got to say. I'm trying to be extremely nice to him, because I think that to deal with something like this, it's not, I can't just make fun of him and bash him because otherwise it's like he's gonna just hate me and not want anything to do with me. But I'm going to try to do my best to at least, try to have some kind of a congenial conversation. And just trying to see what he's got to say. Take it for what you want. If you think that I'm mean about it, I don't know. Just know, like, I've been around people at, say, the nursing home and people that are 80, 90 years old, Non-Compos-Mentis. They're not quite right in the head. And I had one, it was a cousin of my great-grandfather. She asked me how my grandma Stella was doing. And of course, my grandma Stella's been dead since the year 2004. But again, it's like when somebody's not right in the head, it is good to like play along. And so I was just like, oh yeah, she's doing well. Yeah, thanks. Grandma Stella says hi. And so, you can think like, I don't know, you can think like that, oh, Nathaniel, he's just being mean because he's lying to this guy or something. But just know that at least I'm trying, I'm trying to play along with whatever's in his mind and trying to figure out what it is. You could see it in a philosophical way, in a psychiatric way, or you could see it as plain old disrespectful or hatred. But just know that I don't mean it in a disrespectful way, and I'm just putting this out as a disclaimer, because I have no clue who exactly might end up watching this video, what kind of audience I'll get, what kind of reaction I'll get from it, and so that's why I'm just saying, like, I'm not trying to be mean to this bloke. I really am not. But I think his colloquial, his terminology, the etymology, everything that he says, it's so abstruse. It's so, convoluted, and like I don't know where it came from, to be honest. It's like what he's saying sounds blasphemous about I am that I am and stuff like this. But at the same time, some of his terminology is ambiguous, saying I don't know exactly how to say this, but say the giants are woken up and there's 200 feet tall giants somewhere in Ohio, Michigan, and Indiana area. Like, that seems pretty profound. It seems pretty like extraordinary. I think that some emotions should be going crazy of like, oh my, let's deal with it. There's giants, but instead it's like, there's giants, and so yeah, that's that. Like, it's something where me personally, I've never really talked with somebody at that level before, where it doesn't make sense. Like, I've talked with dumb people before, and I've talked with some people. I could, name a story at the nursing home I used to volunteer with. A guy, he would just say, oh, the bag, oh, the bag, oh, the bag, oh, the bag, the bag, oh, the bag. And apparently it was a pastor. So I would say, like, hey, do you love Jesus? And he'd say, I love Jesus. Oh, the bag, oh, the bag, oh, the bag, oh, the bag, oh, the bag. And then we'd be like, so you're a pastor? He's like, oh, yeah, oh, the bag, oh, the bag, oh, the bag. I was a pastor. Oh, the bag, oh, the bag, oh, the bag. I love Jesus. Oh, the bag, oh, the bag, oh, the bag. Oh, the bag. Oh, the bag, oh, the bag, oh, the bag, oh, the bag, oh, the bag. And he just wouldn't stop. And this went on for weeks and weeks and weeks. I volunteered at the nursing home every week. I was a teenager. We played music and do a little service. And I never could figure this guy out. But it was like his little pet phrase was just, oh, the bag. Oh, the bag, oh, the bag, oh, the bag, oh, the bag, oh, the bag. And I'm like, it doesn't even make any sense. Other people had their whole life story in a nutshell, or the one lady would always say, I'm hungry. When are we going to eat now? Are we having dinner soon? And she'd repeat that same phrase like over and over and over. Oh, hey, Drake, welcome. What's up? So, yeah, I was able to record a slight conversation with this crazy guy again that thinks that he's going to float away on an ark, or that he is an ark. You can hear what he's got to say. Apparently, he says there's 200-foot tall giants that woke up and they're going to be after us. And I don't believe it personally, but here he is again. Let's see what he's got to say. So, hey, Elijah, or sorry, yeah, what's up? Yeah, I'm here. I was just thinking about you, wondering when you're going to call. So, what's up?
It was a sister Tia that I met, a trauma nurse out of the Cincinnati hospital that I met this morning.
Okay.
She came back and checked me and give me some money, and she's gonna bring me a pack of cigarettes tomorrow, bring me some more money tomorrow, and go tell her people what I just gave her. I gave her a lot of the information this morning, and she came back, and I filled her out some more. She's like, I fully understand what you've been trying to say all along now. Like, cool. I'm gonna go tell my people, and I'm gonna tell their people. We're gonna turn on all the lights in the house right now. I'm gonna let the lights shine so bright that darkness has to flee.
So she's gonna be a messenger, or I'm not quite sure I understand this. What's going on?
We're all messengers, bro. We're all shepherds. We're supposed to be shepherds.
So about these 200 feet tall giants you're talking about, that seems very prolific. Like, should I be concerned? Are we gonna fight them?
Everybody should.
Okay, I'm sorry. You seem so nonchalant. It's almost like you're used to this or something. 200 feet tall giants like fit like your day.
Remember the Nephilim, the Watchers, the fallen angels decided they were going to play around with genetics of man before the flood. That's what caused the flood. Yeah, they had giants in the land. Remember Joshua and Caleb went in and said, dude, we went in and surveyed the land and we came back and we're like freaking grasshoppers compared to these idiots. Yeah,
no, I know the story, and don't take this like pejoratively, but it's hard to believe that they're here unless I could see some kind of footage or picture.
What do you think's buried in the ice? What do you think the mountains are?
Which
sleeping giants. I'm sitting on Serpent Mounds right here in Ohio, in the Ohio River Valley. This is little Egypt. This is land of Canaan.
So you believe they're like rock giants? Or I'm trying to understand what.
No, they got petrified by the flood, covered in mud.
And
they're going to wake back up.
They're going to wake back up again. I mean, that will be crazy. Is there a way to kill these giants?
As it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be in the coming of the Son of Man. What part of that do not people understand?
Well, I mean, I guess people are. Have you watched the Truman Show? Do you know the Truman Show?
Yeah, that's a mockery. And most of the actors are just demons. They've been around for eons, millennia.
Okay, well, my point in bringing it up was just like a lot of people, they accept reality the way it's told to them, and that's why I appreciate you're telling me this other story, because right now I can't really say whether it's true or not, but I like to get the information because I want to understand what you're saying.
Just for a second, I'll fill you in.
Okay.
The reason they mocked Noah is because it had never rained before. They didn't have mountains. Earth is a flat plane of existence, except for right now we have valleys and mountains. And scriptures say that in the end, the valleys will be brought low, and the valleys will be brought high, and the mountains will be brought low.
Okay.
Plane of existence. And the seas will flee away. The islands will flee in his presence. No, they're not going to run away from him. They're going to flee from their position to him.
So you're saying the continents are like shifting around like jigsaw puzzle pieces?
Yeah. Look at a globe or a map, and basically you cut them out and put them all together. Africa fits right up here. Asia fits right against the other side of America. It all fits. I'm
pretty sure you got to shrink Africa about 34%, but how could you even trust the map people nowadays?
No, the maps aren't even to scale anyway. But you can see how they all fit. All the continents fit together. And the seven that talks about in Revelation are the seven continents. That's the beast that rises out of the sea. That's the giant. That's the giant Nimrod. Or Metatron, or whatever you want to call it.
And what do you got to say about Jesus Christ? I know you said something about that before.
Well, remember, Messiah said, I've come in my Father's name, and you won't accept that or me, but if one comes in his own name, that him you will accept. And Gissus goes back to the mummy. The cross is the Ankh. It's the son of Satan. It's Nimrod.
Okay.
And you can get that out of the 2 feet of the statue in Daniel are USA and UN NATO.
Yeah.
UN NATO. By scrambling those letters, you use Satan. You take Babylon, Egyptian, or you take Babylon, Egypt, and Assyrian. Same thing with those letters. You have to go into specific scriptures in Daniel and in Revelation, and I give those to you. You're going to have to dig it out of scriptures like Sirius, that's everything.
Exactly.
But also on the world stage, the number is 61616, but the Greeks took out the 11. So everybody's focused on the carnal, not the spiritual aspect. Because your flesh is 666. Everything is 666.
This is 666. And is this a computer matrix 666?
Well, the computer that we have currently was created at CERN. CERN is short for Cernunnos, the ancient demon of destruction.
And so does this computer matrix, is it like the Matrix video where we're really like 100 or 200 years later? Or is this really 2018?
No, the time isn't real, dude. Everything's a made-up construct by the demons that control this reality.
So what is time, per se?
Time is a construct of man, or the demons, whatever they tell man. Because time with Yahweh is like, a day is like 1,000 years, or 1,000 years is like unto a day. He's El Olam. He's outside of time and space. And if you can understand the 6 days of creation and the spiritual implications of day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, and day 6, then you're done. You cease from your works. You don't need the scrolls. You don't need the Torah. You don't need the Tanakh. It's
So,
in your heart.
may I ask you then, do you think reincarnation is of the devil, or do you believe that it actually exists?
Certain souls, yes, he recycles his own righteous souls. Just remember, Elijah was taken in a chariot of fire. Enoch was taken. Well, Enoch was on Patmos. It's probably still there. See, Elijah came as Yohanan, his cousin. Remember, he's 6 months older. He disciples, who did you say I am? And they're like, well, let's say you're John the Baptist. And he's like, dude, you guys are idiots. You were there when I was baptized. Like, oh, well, some say you're Elijah. Like, I told you that he was Elijah. And some say, oh, well, you're Eliyahu. He didn't say anything. And then they went, oh, maybe you're one of the other great prophets.
So, what would you do if you're talking to somebody and they would say that, you know, maybe like you smoke too much dope or something? Like, do you take any drugs or what? I'm just curious because I know this just it's outside of the box of reality to most people, and so I'm wondering how you.
It's plain as day in the scriptures.
Well, it's not plain as day for most people.
That's because they make too much of it, just like the scribes and the Pharisees and the Sadducees. They study to show themselves that they're educated idiots or educated fools.
But
that's just it. He doesn't want anything written down. It's a living, breathing word.
But if we don't have anything written down, what's the standard then? You know, how do we know the truth from lies if we don't have?
To walk with him, stay away from that tree of the knowledge of good and evil, and walk with him as he walked with Adam in the garden.
Okay, explain to me then, how would you?
Walk with Abram when he came out of Ur, the Chaldees, which is here where I'm sitting in America.
So Ur's America. Okay. So explain to me how you can how to know you're not being deceived, because that is a big one for me.
I test everything a billion times, and I make him show me another billion times before I jump into anything. And I know how to read the handwriting on the wall as Daniel, because I have to become Daniel. The whole thing is you have to put on the tabernacle, which is the word. You have to eat the scroll.
So.
And then that's you become everything. You're pretty much the two witnesses, the two olive trees, and the two lampstands.
Yeah.
You're basically going front to back.
So talking about 2 and 2, did you
listen to Genesis at the same time and meeting at Psalm 118, basically.
Okay. Now, did you use the quadratic? So I have a question. Did you use the quadratic equation in high school? Because I got a question about that.
I hated math.
You hated math. So if I say like that, negative b plus or minus square of b squared minus 4ac over 2a is the derivative of x. Does that mean anything to you?
I'd rather go play in the dirt and camp and hike and kayak.
What about like f of x equals mx plus b?
I don't like math, dude.
But don't you think that is what, what's holding things together in some way?
He's holding it together with who he is.
He's not. So
your mathematics and your science are your own religions. He didn't tell Adam to become a mathematician or a trigonometrist.
So like 7 times 7, that equals 49, right? Or
70 times 7 is 490. Yeah, I can do multiplication, addition, subtraction, division, all that. You don't like algebra, geometry, or trigonometry.
What about like like the change in y over the change of x?
I don't really care. I'd rather go and graph for cloned plants and vegetables, like mound layer, air layer. I'm more into agriculture. I'm more into history and botany, agronomy.
I'm just trying to say, like, how do you know that your intelligence is at a standpoint where you can actually conclude something of your own accord? Because that's what I ask myself. I'm like, you know what? I could test my IQ and it could test very high, but how do I know that my IQ test scores aren't lying to me? How do I know that?
Your intelligence quotient on something that the devil tells you is whatever.
So how do
you're basing it on the God of this world, not basing it on the Creator.
so how would I base it on said Creator? How would I make sure that my intelligence would be?
You'd have to go into your prayer closet and talk to your Creator, or talk to the Creator.
And how does one go about doing that? Because
first of all, remember he was crucified at Golgotha. Golgotha meaning a place of the skull. And it says in scriptures to let that mind, which was in Messiah, be in you. Even though he being in the form of the Creator, he didn't run around saying, "Hey, I'm the Creator. You have to do what I tell you to do." No, he took on the form of a servant, even to the point of death. He humbled himself that hard, that low.
So
I already know when I die, and I know what's going to happen after I die.
So what I'm saying is, I've seen many people that have said that God told me such and such, or that I know, and it's like they got this voice in their head. The voice that either says, go down the street, turn left, or...
It shows me just like the handwriting appeared on the wall with its Nebuchadnezzar.
So like a visionary type thing? Are you saying you got visions or pictures? Or
I can look at things and I know how to read his code.
Is this...
That TV show that used to be on a while ago, Person of Interest, where that quantum computer would send the people, certain people's numbers, and they would have to go and protect them from the evil who was going to take them out.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. Do you believe in God?
I believe God is from Gad, the side margin in Isaiah. It's an ancient Babylonian deity.
But
remember,
what about the English word God? What about if you say it as God? Do you believe in God?
It's a demon.
God's a demon?
All gods are demons. Yahweh is the creator. He's not a god.
Then why does it say in the beginning God created heaven and earth?
That's Psalms 4:30. That's Elohim. He's El.
But isn't Elohim the Hebrew word for God? I learned this in Hebrew school, that Elohim is God.
Those are the fallen angels that masquerade as being the gods of the world, the ones who enslaved the Hebrews.
So you're saying they've transmogrified into a reptilian form? Or are there these reptilians? Or... Yeah, so you believe in the reptilian conspiracy.
They're gonna pull another fake alien invasion like they did back in Mesopotamia when it was Gilgamesh.
So you believe that the reptilians are God? Or what?
No, they masquerade as gods.
As God.
Yahweh is not a god, man. What can you not understand?
No, I'm just getting this clear and everything. So you're saying that our Creator, the Heavenly Father, you're just separating God from the Father, just so I get this clear.
Shema, Israel, Yahweh Eloheinu, Yahweh Echad, not Yahweh Elohim, it's Yahweh Eloheinu.
Doesn't that mean Yahweh our God?
And in the prophet El Shaddai, El Olam.
El Olam. Okay, so
singular. Elohim is a multiplicity. They're the employees.
So Elohim, you say, are multiplicities. And so what would you say about these reptilian shapeshifters that masquerade in human form? Do you believe they could look just like, you know, a relative, say Grandpa George?
They're the angels of light. They're the ones that have been deceiving man since the fall in the garden.
So what would you say if I said like that, I suspicion that either my boss is a reptilian, or say like my friend...
You're probably right, brother.
And what about like my own mother or my own father? You know, could they be? But could they be reptilians?
I just know that every soul that comes into this world gets born into this hell of life.
Okay.
And they have to be born again from above, not from below. They have to strip off all that is mortal and evil.
So, as far as this reptilian, because it's really been interesting to me. Do you think David Icke is a reptilian?
Yes.
And is that why he's saying things about reptilians?
Yeah, because they're trying to push this big alien agenda and evolution and this ball floating Earth. That's Baal.
Well, you do know that David Icke said that if we're in a quantum computer, it could be a flat Earth or a globe that just shapeshifts. You know, just press enter, it's a ball, and press enter, and it's flat. That's what David Icke said. So I'm just like, you know what the heck? You know, maybe David Icke is trying to be agnostic.
Scriptures all the way through. There are hundreds of scriptures that say that the Earth is stationary, it's the center of the universe, established on pillars. The sun, the moon, and the stars revolve
Yeah.
around the earth. We don't revolve around anything.
We don't.
No, the earth is his footstool. That's countless times throughout the scripture. I can give you all the scriptures to tell about flat earth. Yes, right now it's not completely flat because we have mountains and valleys. And then underneath in Sheol, it points out like a stalactite. Up on top of your dinner plate, the big spike sticking out the bottomless pit, basically. And that's CERN. It's just on the temple of Apollo, which is Apollyon or Abaddon. The internet was created there.
Okay.
And CERN is short for Cernunnos, sometimes called Pan, the little horn flute playing stupid little theme thing. And the other god of this world is Google. Gogol, sometimes called Gogol-Hana, sometimes Gogol-Asa. It's also where you get the Hebrew word Nashah, meaning to deceive, to be kept in bondage, prison. I think it's 616 in Strong's. It's in debt through usury, through taxation, through manipulation. We're still in Egypt. We're still building their pyramids. We're still in slavery.
So where's the pyramids now then?
Excuse me?
Where are the pyramids now?
They're all over America. They're all over South America. They're all over Egypt. See Baalbek, Lebanon, Antarctica, the bottom of the ocean, tops of all kinds of mountains. They're all over. Yanaguchi of Japan. Let's see, off of India. And you can also go into the Bhagavad Gita and the Upanishads and Vedas and look and see what happened before the flood. I mean, they make the Jetsons look like the Flintstones. What happened before? That's the reason why he had to cause the flood. And only 8 people were saved. But even after the flood, they were still doing the same evil stuff. It wasn't until Abram came out of Ur and became Abraham that he found somebody he could actually trust and pass on the covenants to. So that's why we're the children of Abraham. We're not the children of Noah. Not the children of Shem or Ham or Japheth.
Wait, Ham or Japheth or what? I was kind of zoning out. Sorry. So what would you tell people? Like, what is your message to the world right now? What do we need to do about this?
We need to repent of all the wickedness in our heart, having put us, take a jackhammer to that stony heart and created us his heart.
And how do we know what his heart is? How do we know what wickedness is? Because, people have their own ideas nowadays, and that's why I'm wondering, like, I question myself. I'm questioning you.
Your mind and your Golgotha, your skull.
But there's so many people's minds, they might lie to them, and that's why I question.
Your understanding. The house says incline your right ear, not your left ear.
So you're saying I should have my phone over on the right side and not the left side?
Okay, think about this yourself. Your head is on your shoulder.
I'm just trying to understand this, okay?
Okay, you're familiar with the letter Shin.
Sheen? You mean the sheen?
Yeah, Shin. You have 2 shins, the right shin and the left shin.
Well, are you confusing English and Hebrew? Because there's 2 different things.
Below your knees, above your ankle, between your knee and your ankle, your shin.
You're talking about the American word, English word, shin, right?
The things on your legs, man.
Yes. Okay, I got you. Things on your legs, that is called a shin.
Or a sheen.
It is not called a sheen. That is...
Mercy, righteousness, justice. Your right hand. That is the vowel point over the largest branch on the sheen or shin. If you move the vowel point over to the left side,
dude,
the shortest branch, it drops the hay out of it and becomes sin.
So,
left hand, just judgment. And in the 616, if you go in the Egyptian, because everything east of Jerusalem.
I'm just trying to figure out how do you make that connection?
Hold on, let me hold your tongue until I finish speaking, please. It's going to cause confusion. Be like a disciple and hold your tongue until I'm not a master, I'm not a rabbi, I'm just asking questions, so let me finish telling you so you don't have to ask any questions.
Yeah, no, explain yourself, because this is quite interesting. I'm just trying to make sure I could come to a good conclusion, because right now I don't combine sheen and seen. Yeah.
As Moses, you're standing there trying to part the sea, right?
Yes, sort of.
Now,
okay.
Picture yourself, you're holding the letter sheen above your head. Obviously, your right arm's going to be higher than your left. And you know how the scriptures say, do not let your left hand know what your right hand is. I mean, yeah, what your right hand is doing. Incline your right ear and not your left ear. If your left eye be evil, pluck it out. It's better to enter it with one good eye than two bad eyes or two evil eyes. So let your eye be single. It has to do with the duality.
Okay, now I'm single right now because I don't got a girlfriend. Does that count?
What are you talking about, girlfriend?
Well, you mentioned single, and so I'm saying I'm single because I don't got a girlfriend. And when you're talking about a friend, you know, Jesus says that we're all friends. And so I just wondered if there's a comparison.
You have a right brain and a left brain. You have a right ear and a left ear. You have a right hand and a left hand. A right foot and a left foot.
Yeah, and you can be right and you can be wrong, right?
Yeah, but on the letter shin that I'm trying to get to, where he was crucified, where you're supposed to be crucified, in between the thief on the right or the thief on the left. You're the head in the middle, Golgotha, where you crucify your mind.
But that sounds painful.
It's keep the cow placement held higher on your right instead of it moving over to be high on the left. You understand?
I have no clue what you're saying right now. No, I don't really. I mean, I've studied Hebrew since I was 13, and I still haven't figured it out.
You have to be single-minded. You have to be on the right side, way the letter sheen is. Like I said, if you
okay.
over to the left arm of the sheen, the tree, it becomes sin.
Is that tree Yggdrasil?
You drop the creator out of it, and it becomes sin. If you're not 100% in him and seeking his righteousness, mercy, and justice, all you are is about judgment and condemnation.
I'm just wondering, you're talking about judgment and sin, and I was wondering if you're going to talk about, like, since judge rhymes with fudge, if you're going to talk about fudge being chocolate and how chocolate tastes good and how good is staying with God, and then God's Gad and God's not dead or something. Like, I don't know. I was just wondering if you're comparing stuff like that.
I got done talking to you because you're just making nonsense of this.
No, what I'm saying is, like, I feel like you're taking I'm not trying to be pejorative or, you know, disrespectful.
Go look in the mirror.
I got a mirror right behind me. I'm looking right at it. What do you want to say?
Your head is the center of the letter sheen.
I believe you say that. I've never seen that.
Your head is where you must be crucified. You must crucify your mind, your scientific, analytical piece of shit mind.
And how do I do that? I'd like to. So what do I do? Take an axe, chop my head off?
No. You let your right ear be dominant.
Okay.
Your ears so with it all the right ear, so it's all on a shin. Two front teeth of mercy, justice, righteousness. Okay. If you break those teeth, you drop him out of it, and you move the vowel point over to your left arm. This goes into the deception, the counterfeit. Like I said, anything east of Jerusalem reads right to left. Anything west of Jerusalem reads left to right, like Egyptian, English.
Okay. French. I'm just trying to get this comparison. So.
Okay. You're recording this anyway, so, or if you're not, you're stupid for not recording it. You can play it back later.
Sure. So, yeah, I'm just wondering, like, if I'm recording this and everything, are you, like, I want to just make sure you're not pulling my leg, because
you didn't have the permission to, or even type it, or even write any story about it either. You're only condemning your own soul by doing that.
Now, how, because, I mean, I know in Illinois they got laws about two-way conversations. It's got to be both agreed upon. In Indiana, where I'm at, you can record a conversation as long as you're a participant. It's totally legal.
From the very beginning, I do not consent to my words being used for any monetary gain, to be used for a book, to be used for any other purpose other than correction.
Okay, well, let's use it for correction.
Not to be written down, not to be typed, not to be telephonically recorded in any shape, form, manner at all. Facebook, I do not give you permission for anything. I do not consent to anything.
All right, then. So,
and I will sue at the full extent of the Creator's law and all of man's laws at the same time, and I will seek all monetary damages due me.
Okay, and so is that going to be under the law of LASHON HA-RA?
That's under the law of the Creator and the laws that He has established by the governing bodies of the earth.
And I believe that.
And a priest.
Okay, no, you can hold on, calm down. Okay, you can comment on it. No, I'm sure. What you're just saying is you want to make sure that I'm not using this in LASHON HA-RA and bad mouthing you in any way. And I totally understand. What I'm saying is that
You can't use it for monetary gain. You cannot put it in any type of communication to anybody else unless you understand the teaching yourself and it becomes your words, not mine. You're not allowed to record this, distribute it, transmit it in any form, shape, or substance whatsoever.
and that is according to LASHON HA-RA, right?
Under the Creator's law, and that would be you go into outer darkness for eternity in the lake of fire, where death and hell go.
Well,
that's gonna happen. That's gonna happen very soon, dude.
That's very.
My buttons. You're only condemning your own soul.
Okay, sorry. I'm sorry if this, if it's disturbing you. Or, as I said, I'm not trying to be pejorative.
I'm tired of you little demons playing your religion games, man.
Okay, sure. So let's calm down and say.
Saving people's soul from eternal condemnation.
Exactly. So as far as if we're trying to save people from eternal condemnation, telling them the giants are woken up and that, wouldn't you like that to be recorded and go massively out to everybody? I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like,
no, I would like for somebody to understand it, and then it be their words, and they tell somebody else, and then that person understands.
So that's what I'm trying.
What
my point now is just to try to understand it, and I believe I understood part of it, and there's like this part that I'm just not sure.
You're over in Indiana, dude. I'm right next door to you. I was in Indiana 3 days ago.
Okay.
I took a wrong turn. Now I'm stuck in Ohio.
Okay.
What part of Indiana are you in?
So,
I'm gonna sit down and talk to you face to face. It's easier that way, so I can count your fingers and see the whites of your eyes if you have whites or if they're yellow.
Yeah.
I already know who created AIDS.
Okay, great. Yeah.
I know how to cure
why don't? Great. So yeah, I think that'd be a great continuation because I just, I gotta see your face too because I want to make sure I'm not getting played with. Just like you.
Where are you at?
I'm here in Evansville.
That's southwest of Chicago.
Yeah. More or less. I mean, it's basically between Indianapolis, Indianapolis, Louisville, Nashville, and St. Louis. Those would be the.
You're on that side. I'm just outside of Cincinnati, in Liberty Township Circle.
Okay. So yeah, why don't we carry on this conversation in person? Because as I said,
how soon can you get here? I'm staying here until I can get out of here.
I don't know. I mean, in a couple days, I suppose.
No, I won't be here in a couple days.
Okay, I'm just saying right now I'm kind of running short on gas, and so unless a miracle happens for me,
I had $3 left when I got here, and now I have $13. Actually, no, I have I think 30 something, and somebody's sending me more money, and somebody's trying to get money to come up and join me. And we're gonna go hit the rest of the states. We're gonna do your state. Then I'm gonna hit Illinois, Detroit, all the way across up to Maine, down the eastern seaboard, across the bottom, back into Texas, across the rest of Texas, back across Oklahoma, hit Missouri, back down, go back through Kentucky, after I hit Tennessee and Mississippi again, go to North Carolina, and then I'm going to go hit probably Jamaica and a few other places while I can.
Okay, and so yeah, I think we should meet up in person because just like you're saying that you don't want this to be used for any like monetary purpose or something, it's the same with me. I don't want to be talking to you and then realize that you're just pulling my leg. Like I want to be able to see you in person and kind of get to know.
Jeopardize my soul or jeopardize anybody else's soul by selling them bullshit.
Okay, well I appreciate that.
I'm a student of history and I see how people's words in the past were enlightened. It got used against them and they created a new religion or a new denomination or a new cult.
Okay, so yeah, why don't we try to meet up in person?
How about you put up a GoFundMe for yourself real quick? Say, hey, you got a story and you gotta go meet somebody for an interview and see if anybody else.
I got my PayPal. If somebody wants to donate on PayPal, either my audience or anybody watching, I'm gonna be posting a link in the PayPal, and so right now I'm broke for the week. I got all my bills paid, and I don't got any money.
Just do it. See what happens. Go in faith. Plant that seed out
Sure.
there and see what the Father does.
Yeah, I'll see. So if
try to be here
tonight.
I'll record, but you can't use my likeness. You can't use my image.
Okay, yeah, I won't have it on video. I'll just I don't know, just do an audio recording or something, because
I'll have to use a voice modulator because I don't want my voice out there either.
Okay, sure. I mean, we'll transmogrify that as.
Be left alone, man.
Okay. Well, we'll transmogrify the voice and see what we can come up with.
It's not a teaching, and I'm not a rabbi or a teacher or anything. I'm just a shepherd to guide people out of the weeds on the right and the weeds on the left. That's straight and narrow path.
Well, I can't guarantee that I'm gonna be there tonight, but I do know I got the weekend off. I don't got to go to work till Monday. So yeah, I'll leave it in the hands of God. If He wants me to meet up with you, I'm more than willing to do that. But yeah, it's up to fate and destiny, providence, and Hamida Chorizo. We'll see how it goes.
Jump ahead on something. Okay, I still have to go through the whole rigmarole of what's written and everything else. We all know in the end that He is the beginning and the end. He creates good and evil, and He uses them for His own purposes. So it doesn't matter what name you call Him. He still is the I am that I am. He
okay.
never changes. He's the eternal.
I am that I am. Gotcha on that. Okay. So
that I am. That's what He told Moses to tell them, that Moses is I am that I am. That's why he was Elohim, or he was El to the people. And they were afraid to come near to Him because he had the Shekinah glory on Him. He exuded the presence of the Creator. And that's what we're supposed to put on. It's so simple. You take the tetragrammaton and you stand it on its feet above the menorah.
Yeah, I think you'd explain it to me that you got to go sideways or something with the tetragrammaton, and some really cool thing about that.
It's horizontal. You want to make it vertical over the menorah. The menorah, the 7 manifestations of the Ruach HaKodesh.
Okay, great.
With prophecy, tongues, healing. 7 manifestations. That's what the menorah represents. And I can give it to you with all the Hebrew scripts on it. I mean, it's better if we meet in person.
Okay, well, let's just
body language and see if I need to take a different approach to explain it to you.
Yeah, no, I think that'd be great. I think I've had about as much as I can. Yeah, I've had about as much as I can take on the phone, just because I'm intrigued. I definitely think this is extremely interesting to me, but I want to, I want to see it in person too, just to know, what kind of steps I should take.
You can call a friend or somebody, because you can be here in maybe 3 hours.
More or less, yeah. I'm just saying, I'd probably rather not do it tonight. If you can say in the morning or something, just so it's not like black.
When He came as Messiah, everybody had reasons. Like, they couldn't do it right away. They're like, oh, I've got a funeral to go to, or I've got a wedding, or I've got to work tomorrow. It's like, you're either ready to go now, or you're never going to be ready.
I mean, but we're not talking about the end of the world or anything, right? We're just talking about meeting up in person.
Yes, we are, dude.
So you're saying the world might end before I get there tomorrow morning?
Oh, no, not tomorrow.
So that's what I'm just saying. Like, I'm not talking about Jesus and stuff. I'm just talking about, right? Well, aren't you coming my way anyway? You said you're heading to Indiana and Illinois.
Right now, I'm trying to get back to meet somebody in Texas. We're going to meet somewhere in the middle. Like I said, I have to go hit a few other places. I still have to go up to New England, zigzag down the East Coast, down to Florida, go around the bottom of Florida.
Yeah, so, hey, let's keep in touch. I'm going to have to get to sleep now. It's, I've had a rough day. I just finished 40 hours a week, actually 41 hours of work, and in the last 4 days. So as you can see, that's, quite a bit.
I get maybe 15 minutes or an hour of sleep a day. That's it, if I even get sleep. I hardly ever have time to go to the bathroom. I'm so busy, answering people's questions, answering calls, trying to fix the stupid tech from getting hacked, trying to track down my files, trying to put out fires that somebody else started.
Well,
and I start by getting pissed off at people because
hey,
making a mockery of everything, and it's making it more difficult. And it's like, it shouldn't be difficult. It's so simple that a child can understand it.
Great. Well, hey, let's just keep in touch, and I'll meet up with you soon.
He, though, is to have your stony heart removed.
Great.
His heart put in you.
Okay.
The art of assertion.
Yeah, great.
And
so
crucify your mind, what the world has taught you.
Yeah, no, hey,
get rid of that.
great. Yeah, I just want to wrap up the phone call. I don't want to be rude or anything, but I'm just I think I've had enough talk for right now, and I appreciate it. And
I'm just going to clarify, and like
Sure.
I said, you do not have my permission to write this down, record it, transmit it, or do anything with it. Once you understand it yourself, you're free to tell it in your own words.
yeah,
Until then, you don't have my permission to do anything with it except marinate on it, meditate on it.
that is totally understood. I believe that, and I do have it recorded for my own purposes. I will be listening to this to try to make sense of it, and I will try to get back to you later. So
I'm just here to prune back some branches and pull out some weeds that the world has put there. Water your seed. If you don't have the seed, plant a seed, water it, fertilize it.
yeah,
You know,
I'll try to get the word out there. But at the same time, I need to understand what you're saying and try to make sense of it.
it's
So
easier if we met in person. That way you can see each other eye to eye.
yes,
If I understand that, you're not understanding, I can take a different approach.
Okay.
A different picture, use a different parable or analogy.
yeah, sounds great. So
I can show you my handwritten notes. I can show you the files that I have. I can even transfer my files to you.
yeah, no, I'll get all prepared for that. So
That's a couple $19 by the 3rd, or else my Google Drive expires, and there goes 100 gigabytes of my files. Life.
yeah, no, I'll see what I can do. I at least know I'm getting paid next week, but at the same time, between now and then, I am broke for right now. So
Put up a Kickstarter saying you're working on a live action film. That's what I'm actually gonna put together.
Yeah?
We're actually gonna do a live action film. But
yeah, I'll do a documentary or something, and I'll yeah,
It's gonna be live from the creator. The Bible is coming to life.
yeah, that sounds great. With all the mud floods and the everything.
It wasn't a mud flood. It's mud left over from the flood.
Exactly. With potato, what's the difference to me?
I understand all the different false teachings on YouTube and all around the place. Like, everybody's got the spirits being poured out on all flesh right now. They're running around making a mockery and making a fool out of everybody.
Okay, well, let's make a fool out of them. Kudos to them.
Listen to this before you go. Meditate on this overnight.
Sure.
You're an eagle, a baby eagle. Before you learn how to fly, you fall out of the nest. And here comes a poultry farmer.
Yep.
And he finds you, and he's like, "Oh, I've got birds at home. They're chickens, but okay, I can take it back." So you get raised around a bunch of chickens. So you start thinking that you're a chicken, right?
I think you told me this before, yeah, but we're an eagle, so we gotta fly, right?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So yeah, so let's fly. So yeah, I'm sorry, I'm just so tired, but I'm just tired.
Somebody drives, sleep in the car. Well, somebody drives.
Yeah, I'll get to you soon though.
If I had the gas, I'm less than a mile from the next exit, and I can make a beeline. Indiana's just like, I can throw a rock and hit Indiana right now.
Yeah, no, same with me. I mean, if I had my dad gave me a short-term loan of $500,000, I'd be a lot well-to-do, and it wouldn't be a problem to just go there and back. But
if I just had $100 right now, I would have enough for gas, enough to get something to eat, get some more water, and I would head straight to you.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It costs about $100, and so that's why I'm gonna see what I can do. I mean, I'm gonna put my PayPal account online. If anybody wants to donate, feel free.
Monetary gain, but it costs me money to get to people.
Yeah, no, same to me, and that's why I'm saying that I don't have $100 right now. I mean, right now I'm making sure my lights are on and my rent's paid. But
set up a GoFundMe account.
I think it's gonna have to be PayPal because GoFundMe takes a while to access. But PayPal's instant.
You publish it to your Facebook people, and then they're gonna publish it to their friends. They're gonna see you have a great idea. Somebody might have only 5 cents. Somebody might have $5,000. Somebody might be like, "Oh, here's $500,000. Let's help this guy produce a music video or an album glorifying."
That would be amazing.
Or a movie.
That would be amazing.
Let me crowdsource this, man.
Okay.
This is for everybody.
Great.
Everybody can be involved.
That's great.
Everybody can be involved.
Okay, we'll see what we can do.
Take a lottery and everybody won.
Okay, that's what I'll say. I'll say lottery. Everybody won. Just come and get.
Yeah.
get it. Yeah.
Let's take it like one big, like, huge, like, love fest. Like, I don't know what to call it. Like,
Okay, well,
fest.
you know, I feel like I could probably go on forever, but I definitely gotta let you go.
Let's call it the Final Jubilee.
Final Jubilee. Okay, so adios for now, and shalom, shalom. I'll talk to you later, okay?
And remember, the Sabbath is every day, bro. Once you cease from your own works, it's every day. You enter into his rest. You cease from the sixth day.
Okay, sounds great. Adios, and God bless.
And may Yahweh bless you and keep you, and hopefully you stay honest and true and you don't try to screw me over, man.
Okay, sounds good. Adios. Oh boy, I really don't know how I did on that one. I got 2 viewers watching, so tell me what you think in the comments below. Did I totally botch that one up, or do you think I should meet him in person? I don't really know. I am gonna include my PayPal. If anybody wants to give any money, I'm gonna take that as my sign from God that if somebody donates $100 to my PayPal in the next few days, I'm gonna go try to find him. Otherwise, you know, it's not in my budget. I work and I'm keeping this rent paid. I got bills and I'm taking care of my 14-year-old brother. So it's like I don't have a bunch of money to go and do things with. My YouTube channel doesn't get that much, you know, money. So I don't mean this in a pejorative way, but this is like a test that if any of my audience would like to see an updated conclusion with this Jeremiah guy, feel free to either do a super chat now or donate to my PayPal. The link's going to be in the description below. That's just going to show me that you guys are interested and you'd like to see a conclusion or at least a continuation of this storyline. Otherwise, I'm going to have to call it quits on Jeremiah, or Elijah Boo Boo, whatever you want to call him. And I'm going to have to say that he's the most creative individual I've met. I got to give him kudos for his genuine engineered genius that's congealed in a conjunction worth genre of convoluted conjectures, so to speak, you know. But my bottom line is he definitely has a creative mind, and you could write a book about him or a video or a movie. He is such an amazing person. And so that's why, even though I know that he said on the recording he does not give me permission, that is all an act, and it is an act in the skit series. And so just understand that nobody's going to get sued, nobody's going to get hurt, that, you know, we have a mutual agreement that everything is going to be okay. So just understand, in Indiana, the law of the land is that as long as one person approves of a recording of a conversation, that the conversation can be recorded. You say better take the video down. Okay, it clearly didn't give permission. So I just want to explain to Field Flower in the comment section that he did not give permission, but he is not he didn't give permission, but he is in the state of Ohio. I'm in the state of Indiana. And because he's an adult, okay, if he was a minor and it would go against YouTube's policy, YouTube is definitely different than a phone recording, I understand. But if he was a minor and he was recorded without permission, I would take it down because I understand that's violating YouTube's policy. On the other hand, in the United States of America, we have the freedom of speech and of the press, the right to keep and bear arms. This shall not be taken away. And so in my freedom of speech, I am putting this online in the public domain for one, to get the word out there, whether he's a maniac or demon possessed or whether, you know, he's maybe got a point. I don't really know. But I'm putting this message out there for people to think or not to think or to laugh or to scorn. I'm not really sure, but I'm putting it out there as a precaution. You know, there's people like that out there. And as far as him not giving permission, again, I'm saying that I have the freedom of speech in the United States of America. I live in the state of Indiana, and the law states that as long as one or more party is granting the permission, that it is okay to record and also to publicize that recording in the public domain. So it says he's got a right of privacy. Exactly, and it's also he has a right to shut up if he wants to shut up. And so the privacy part of that is I don't have his name, I don't have his address. You don't know who that is, and you do not know if he's a literal person or if he's an actor. So with all that said and done, understand that I am not giving you his full name, his address, his name, his phone number. I'm not giving you any of that information in public. And because I'm not giving any of that, I'm not showing his face. As far as you know, he is a shape-shifting reptilian, or he's an actor, or a homeless guy on the side of the street. So that is in conclusion to this video. I understand that people have their own personal opinion about what is right and what is wrong. As far as the name, I say either Jeremiah or Elijah Boo Boo or Eliyahu. He's something like that, but at the same time, those are convoluted, conjectured nicknames. I do not believe that's his real name. His birth certificate probably doesn't say either Eliyahu or Jeremiah or Elijah Woo Woo or, you know, the Tita Kano. I don't know. So no, I don't even know his full name myself. I don't know his address. I don't know his phone number. So understand that all of this is anonymous, that it is just some Non-Compos-Mentis guy that perhaps had a few fries too many, or perhaps a few fries short of a Happy Meal. Not quite sure which. Again, you might think that this whole video out there is done to exploit him, but it's really not. It's for educational purposes, informational purposes. I want people to have an aspect of what goes on in somebody's mind that's not necessarily in the box. And I think that's what makes him so interesting, is he's not in the box that we're all brought up in. I don't know where he's at necessarily, if he's in, you know, his own imaginary box, but I think that is what's worth analyzing and trying to figure out, because I think that, you know, so many of us, we have these preconceived ideas, these cognitive I would say cognitive prison cells that we're in, that, you know, we believe the world's flat, or we believe it's round, or we believe it has to be this way. Well, YouTube's going to make money off it whether or not I do. So I do not think that's something. I got the comment, don't monetize it. YouTube is going to monetize it with or without my permission. That is not the issue. The issue of whether or not YouTube's going to keep it on the channel, I don't know. I believe that he is crazy enough that he's not even going to realize he is on YouTube. I know, because it was 2 weeks ago I had the other video on YouTube, and so far to this day he has not found his own video with him talking. So that's why I consider him a few fries short of Happy Meal, or maybe a few too many fries in a Happy Meal. I'm not sure. But again, in wrapping this up, I just want to let people know that I think it's important to understand and question our reality. And this might be a terrible example, getting somebody that's way out there in the loony bin. But the reason I have this is, for one, to be careful, because there's a lot of people that can, just say whatever, and people will believe them. People get drawn. I say that it's gullible people get drawn to gullible people. That's why the saying goes that, you know, birds of a feather flock together. It's the same thing with gulls as seagulls, and also gulls as in gullible people, that gullible people flock with gullible people. And that's why, I mean, that's why I bring it up. And that's why, you know, well, somebody in the 1600s, Jacob, whatever, said about birds of a feather flock together. But it was way before his time, back in the days of Socrates, that they had that saying that that those who are of a similar feather, the birds are of a similar feather, fly and flock always together. Whatever, whatever the old guy said in Plato's Republic. I'm just quoting that to say that I think there's a lot of gullible people out here, even gullible enough that they will they could believe this guy. That's why he's saying people are giving him money, and that's why I'm putting it out there. You're saying that you thought that YouTube can you could choose about monetization. It is true, you're supposed to, but there are times when YouTube will either force monetization or force dismonetization, And YouTube's always making money, you know, whether or not, you know, YouTube's got its own little scam going. It's going to screw you coming and going. So my suggestion is, you know, get the most out of YouTube, even though, to be honest, I'm sure YouTube owes me a lot of money that it's stealing from me, but, you know, there's nothing I can do about it. So, again, that is wrapping up the video. He sounds more sensible tonight than the other night. Yeah, and, you know, maybe he'll come around. My goal is to talk to him and reason with him, and part of that is me having to play in his mind, you know, be who he thinks I am or who he thinks he is. And to some people, I know you think that's mean, you think it's hateful, but it's the same idea as my favorite book. I don't know, wrap this up in the next 5 minutes. My favorite book is The Prince and the Pauper by Mark Twain. And you got to realize that in The Prince and the Pauper, Miles Hendon meets this boy and he says, I am Prince of Wales. I am Prince Edward. And everybody laughs and laughs. Oh, he's crazy. And they name him King Fufu the First, Prince of whatever, King of you know, the vagabonds, King of the ruffians. So he's King Fufu the First, and everybody makes fun of him. And then Prince Edward says, I'm the prince. You got to treat me better. And then, you know, they steal a pig. And they put it on the prince, and Miles Hendon comes to the rescue again. It says, well, you know, my little friend, he's not right in the head, but I got to rescue him. He's a 9-year-old stranded. He's an orphan. The guy that says he's his father is not his father. And, you know, Miles Hendon's just like, I got to be nice. I got to love this poor kid, even though he's not quite right. So anyhow, the long story goes that he gets accused of stealing the pig, and then Miles Hendon goes over to the guy and he says, you know, I know what you did, you know, buying the pig after this whole thing said with the judge, and he says, I know what you did, and in the law, that is against the law, and the penalty is treason. And he's like, he said, did you know it has a name? He's like, well, I didn't know it has a name. And he said, yes, the name is Lex Talionis, Non-Compos-Mentis, Sic ad gloria mundi, which of course is just, you know, gibberish. It means he's not in the right head, under the glory of the world or whatever. But anyways, he's like, oh, you know, I didn't know it had a name. And he says, yes, it has a name, ad per statu quo. And anyways, he confuses the guard enough that the guard lets the prince go. And the whole time, this is Prince Edward. They got switched with the pauper in the story. And, you know, Miles Hendon's clueless. He thinks he's just this crazy guy, crazy kid's son. Got hit too many times in the head by his father. And then, you know, the long story goes, he ends up going to Miles Hendon's home and gets thrown in prison again. And then at the end of the day, he hands Miles a letter. And he says, take this to the king, not the king, my father. Oh, yeah, the king, my father, because before he realized he was dead, I think. Take this note to Duke Lord Hertford. Take it to Lord Hertford. Say that, you know, say that the true king is come to the palace. That this is, that I am the Prince of Wales. I am Edward Tudor. And he's just like, oh, these scribbles. I bet you he thinks he's the king still. He totally neglected it. Miles Hendon did. And then the story goes that Miles Hendon finally reads the letter right as he's in the palace. He reads it, and it says, I am Edward Tudor, Prince of Wales. And it says it, you know, in Greek and Latin and in English. And so he's just like, wow, this is crazy. And after that, he gets to the palace, and voila, what does he see? He sees the true boy. You know, he sits down in the presence of the king. He sees that the true boy was actually the prince, the king now, after King Henry VIII died. And the whole parable, I don't know with my viewers whether or not you know Mark Twain's famous book, The Prince and the Pauper, if you've seen however many movies have been made of it. But that is a parable that I'm trying to relate to this guy, that even though he's crazy, there's really crazy people out there. But the truth can also sound just as crazy if it's outside of the box. So I'm not trying to say that this guy's speaking the truth any more than I'm trying to say that that NASA is speaking the truth or the textbooks are speaking the truth. I believe in this world there's great deceptions. Yeshua said that there'll be many false prophets. Many will come in my name saying, I am, the time draweth nigh. Yeshua said, go not after them. But at the same time, I see so many people being deceived. As I said, gulls flocking with gulls, gullible people with gullible people. Birds of a feather flock together is the way I like to put it. And I believe it's ignominious. And there needs to be some kind of stop to it. I don't necessarily think that these false prophets mean to be writing Bible translations that are prolemic. And so you know the story of the Prince of the Pauper, believes he's the Messiah, the 40 media, okay. If he's 40, you aren't gonna change his mind. Yeah, no, I understand that, and that's why I do agree. It's probably best not to meet him in person. I mean, I don't want to end up shooting the first person I ever shot in my life and killing him because I end up meeting this guy and he turns out to be a maniac. So you're absolutely right. You know, to this day, I have the right to keep and bear arms. I got a license to carry by Indiana State Police, lifetime. And I don't want to have to use it. I like to just have it just in case. So you're right. I don't plan to meet him, especially though he's 40. If he was a 9-year-old and his parents were giving me permission to come down and talk to him about, maybe say there's this 9-year-old boy that thinks he's Obama's son, Barron Trump. I would go and say, to this 9-year-old kid, hey, you know what? Let's talk some sense into this here. If you really are not Barron Trump. I'd be willing to meet a 9-year-old with parental consent, but you're right that a 40-year-old's a little much for me, especially when I'm only 22. So anyhow, I'm not going to continue that tangent. Just, it is what it is. Sometimes, like the Truman Show, things could seem real that aren't real. And yeah, I hope that's the moral of the story. Or get whatever you want out of it. If you want to laugh at this guy, feel free. Just know that, even though he didn't get permission, that's not going to stop me. I really don't care. If he doesn't have permission, it's not like I care anything about that, especially with Non-Compos-Mentis going on up there saying you got to be in Golgotha, the skull or something. It's like, you know what? I don't think he's got the brains to sue me. If that guy has the brains to sue me, I will be impressed. I will tell you that. I will throw away all my pejorative comments and I will go straight into his straight into the court of law with if there ever is a court issued lawsuit, and I'll just say, Jeremiah Boo Boo, whatever you call yourself, you got me. I'll give him all my money. Not that I really got much to give, but I'll give him all my money. I'll say, Jeremiah Boo Boo, you got me. I thought you were a lot dumber than that, but the truth is, maybe he's pulling my leg. But, I really think his IQ level's probably about 75, 80. He probably is just, he listens to too much, and kind of, convoluted his mind. And I think that when that happens, I don't know how to help him. Maybe get psychiatric help. I as I said in the last stream, I mentioned that if he was alive in the 1600s, he would have gotten burned at the stake for being a wizard, because that's what they did to people like that in the 1600s. They tied him up, burned him to the stake, and they tried him for wizardry and witches. I don't know, is that what's going on nowadays? Are there other witches and wizards going around that are masquerading now as mentally ill? I'm not really sure. I'm expressing these as a matter of opinions, historical opinions. I'm leaving it up to you guys to say what your opinions are, and trying to leave my opinions at a minimum, because all that I know, yeah, have a good evening to you too. All that I know, as Socrates said, is I know nothing of my own accord. As Rene Descartes said, he said that one of the first and foremost importances is to get rid of all your preconceived ideas and to doubt of things certain. Even whether or not you got your hands or your body, whether or not you feel or you see or you touch or you sense. Rene, if you want to call him Rene Descartes, or you want to call him in his Latin word, the Latin Renato Descartes. I prefer Latin because non capisci Frenchiano is what I like to say. Frenchiano no capisce, okay? Ego non capisce Frenchiano. I hope that wasn't too repetitive or redundant because, it's supposed to be sarcasm that I really don't speak French. Ja jestem non Frenchy. Okay, so I like to call him Rene Descartes, just like I call Socrates by his Greek name, I'll call Rene by his Latin name. Anyhow, what Rene says is it's important to attach ourselves from these preconceived ideas that we believed all of our lives. The same idea as believing the world's a globe, or believing that we're in this body and we're moving around, believing that the sun's 93 million miles away, or anything else. It's important to doubt, but then we also must logically conclude something else. And how we know whether or not it's true or not, that is definitely debatable. But doubt is the first thing in order to understand the truth. And so with something like this, having this guy with all these whacked out beliefs, and I'm trying to play along, figure out what he's got to say, I like to understand this and keep it as part of that cognitive dissonance, that this guy is saying this thing, somebody else like David Icke is saying this about reptilians. Somebody like Donald Trump might be saying one thing. You got Joel Osteen saying one thing. You got Isaac Newton that says one thing. And everybody is in this dissonance. All this cacophony is going on, and you're just not sure what to make of reality. That's what makes me more or less a philosopher, because I like to discuss our frame of existence, our reality, and what makes us really us. And that's why, wrapping up with the video, even if you understood nothing of all of this, just understand what Rene concluded. He went on to say, what am I then? If I'm not a body, I could be dreaming, and in my dream world, I think I'm real. I can feel in my dreams. I can see in my dreams. I can sense. I think I'm real. And then I wake up and find that I wasn't real in my dream. I'm real now. But what does he conclude? What am I then? If I'm not a body, because there's people that have limbs detached that get cut off, and they can still feel pain when it's not really there. Things like a honeycomb. It looks sweet. It's got a certain color. It's hard, certain size. And then you put it by the fireplace, and then it melts, and it grows, and it's gooey, it's larger, the taste is different, the color is different, everything's different. The honeycomb is different. Did your perception deceive you? Did your hands that felt it deceive you, or was the honey changed? What could be said about the honeycomb? It's an idea that stumped many great philosophers like Rene Descartes, like Socrates, who ended up saying, I know that I know nothing. And that is why I conclude, as Rene did, that this is what I am. I am res cogitans. I am a thinking thing. Cogito ergo sum. Whether or not this guy, Yeremiyahu Boo-Boo guy, whether or not he is Non-Compos-Mentis, or whether he's right and everybody else is Non-Compos-Mentis, that is debatable. He thinks everybody else is stupid. We think he's stupid. That is the debate. But what I do know is I think, therefore I am. And so does he think, therefore he is. His thought process might be convoluted. His thought process might not really be sound. But so is my thought process. What about if my thought process is sound? What about if your thought process is sound? What about if the world is lying to us? If things you took for granted are really fake? If shootings are fake? If people that are supposedly dead, like the Sandy Hook kids, what about if they didn't die? What about if 9/11's a hoax? What about if the Earth's flat? What about if everything you took as true were actually proven fake? The only thing I believe you could say at that point is cogito ergo sum. I think, therefore I am. Whether or not my thought process is sound or not, I still am a thinking thing. I can think, and that thought could be wrong. but I am a thinking thing, and that is how I know I am. So, again, sorry for going into that Rene Descartes. I love Rene Descartes. He's the guy that did the X and Y concordance. He was the top guy that said that Y is going to be vertical and X is going to be horizontal. He did delta Y over delta X, and because of that, that's why I call Rene Descartes. I call him basically with a French lisp, Socrates plus or minus delta. That is my way of describing him, okay? And yes, that is an original. Some people don't think original thoughts today. I think, therefore I am, and that is why I came up with this. Socrates plus or minus delta. You basically, your f of x, your function is delta plus or minus Socrates, and then your mx plus b, your conclusion is Rene Descartes. And that is the way I process it, in a figure of speech. Anyhow, I'm sure you're not really wanting to get all in the math and geometry and the f of x equals mx plus b. Okay, heat melted. Science has never has the answer for the honey. The heat melted it. I gotta go tonight. Okay, so good night, Field Flower. I'm going to bed too. I had a long day. Just finished 41 hours of work week. So wubba lubba dub dub. Thank you all for watching. Just know that cogito ergo sum, and know that at the end of the day, I got to bring in Yeshua, Jesus Christ. I'm not throwing out Jesus. Yeshua says, I am the way, I am the truth, I am the life, okay? No man cometh to the Father but by me. Now my question is, which way is the true way? Pontius Pilate, after all these things, he's hearing Yeshua. And one thing that Yeshua says, he says that they shall hear the truth. Pontius Pilate then turns around and he says, well, what is truth? And he walks out the door. So this is the thing. Truth or reality. What is truth? What is reality? Yeshua says that my sheep hear my voice and that they will, follow me and find good pasture. So my question is, how do you know you're on the path of truth? I question myself the same thing. I want to find the path of truth. I want to find Yeshua, the way of righteousness. But it's important, first and foremost, to doubt everything you've ever been taught and to rethink every single thing fastidiously, meticulously, chronologically, in every detail. Try to redetermine for yourself how you will arrive at your final destination. How will you know the truth? Because Yeshua says that ye shall know the truth shall set you free. That is what my channel is all about. Seek and ye shall find. I want to seek the truth. And that is one of the reasons why I talk about these philosophical things and everything. And that's probably one of the reasons why I got a bunch of subscribers. Not too many, but anyhow. That is my conclusion for the day. I want you to be thinking, just like I think, therefore I am. I want you to think, therefore you are, okay? Cogitas, cogitata, ergo assem. I'm sorry, ergo sumus, or estis. Now I'm getting my Greek and Latin all convoluted. So anyway, adios for you guys. I'm sure that you've had as much of my video as you could stand. So shalom, Lila Tov, everybody. Until next time, I'm Nathaniel Kuchenberg. I will be back with you guys in the future, and shalom.